Hello viewers, I am Mushahid Hussain from Pakistan with another episode of Global South Voices on behalf of CGTN, China's global television network for the world. Global South Voices is the flagship program of CGTN, which presents a perspective that is different because it represents the world's majority, the Global South. In today's episode, we will be focusing on the China Central Asia Summit, which will convene in June in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan. And Central Asia is the happening place which is linking Asia with Europe. And through economic cooperation, through connectivity, through regional security cooperation. So a lot is happening there. And in this episode, we will examine the different contours of the China Central Asia Summit in the context of what it means for the region and the broader context of the Global South. We will start off with a keynote speech from the host country, Kazakhstan, and because the summit is going to be held in Astana, and we have the very distinguished ambassador of Kazakhstan to Pakistan, His Excellency Yerjan Kistafin, who will give a brief overview of the summit, how the process started, and how it will be taken forward.
In 2013, President of China Xi Jinping for the first time announced the idea to launch One Belt, One Road initiative in Astana during his visit to Kazakhstan. This project is a global infrastructure strategy with participation of more than 150 countries. As of today, Kazakhstan plays an important role in this term, and 3 years back we finalized construction of the railroad connecting China with European countries, and for example the delivery time today is 2 weeks in comparison to 40-50 days by sea. Now Kazakhstan plays a very important role in terms of connecting East and West. For centuries, my country served as a bridge connecting different countries across the world. And today, Kazakhstan pays a very special attention to developing our transit potential. As you might know, Kazakhstan is the largest landlocked country in the world, and the main purpose of our government today is transform Kazakhstan from a landlocked to a land-linked country. And this is why we pay a very special attention to developing collaboration with China in terms of One Belt, One Road initiative. In 2023, for the first time ever in China, in Xi'an, we held the first China Central Asia Summit. During this summit, we discussed a broad range of issues, and as the outcome of this very important gathering, 54 initiatives have been launched with 19 platforms to be established in the years to come. Now, this year in June, this month in Astana, we are going to organize the second China Central Asia Summit. At the end of April this year in Almaty, we held the ministerial conference, China Central Asia, at the level of our foreign ministers. So we discussed pressing issues of the world today. The main focus definitely will be dedicated to developing our regional connectivity, strengthening our political dialogue, improving our economic ties, developing our people-to-people connections with a special focus on cultural diplomacy, sports diplomacy, our joint scientific research, so on and so forth. Another very important part of our cooperation, of course, will be dedicated to energy security issues. So as you might see, we have a broad range of issues to discuss, and what we see is that this kind of collaboration, this kind of platform can serve to strengthening collaboration not only in terms of Central Asia and China, but far beyond. For example, Pakistan is a part of the One Belt, One Road initiative, and China-Pakistan Economic Corridor in this term plays a very important role. And during the first China Central Asia Summit, it was agreed that we will be developing connectivity not only in terms of China and Central Asia, but also Central Asia and South Asia. And in this term, what we see is that Pakistan can play and should play an extremely important role. Thank you.
After the keynote speech, which we have just seen, I would like to now introduce the distinguished panelist for today's show. From Uzbekistan, which is historically a very culturally rich and state with a lot of heritage and a very close linkage with not just the Central Asian republics but also with Pakistan, we have a very distinguished panel. We have His Excellency Ambassador Javlon Wakhabov, who is the head of the International Institute for Central Asia in Tashkent. Then we have from Pakistan a very experienced specialist, former minister, head of the Board of Investment, Mr. Harun Sharif. He also worked in the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, and he focused on Central Asian connectivity as one of the major part of his professional portfolio. Then we have from China, Professor Lishi Guang, who is the leading expert of China on Central Asia from Tsinghua University in Beijing, and who visits Central Asia very frequently for research along with his students. And finally, we have another distinguished speaker from Uzbekistan, Professor Adil Hoja Parpiev, he's the director of the Academy of Sciences in Uzbekistan. So, Ambassador Wakhabov, how do you see this regional connectivity, especially in infrastructure and especially in railways, shaping up in the broader context of the emergence of Central Asia as a key regional point in Eurasia? Over to you, Excellency.
With respect to Uzbekistan, I should note that in 2024, the volume of bilateral trade turnover surpassed $14 billion. And China has already invested in the region in amount very close to $15 billion over the past years. But in the meantime, a primary focus in my remarks I made on developing modern, efficient, and secure transport and logistics infrastructure. And a major prerequisite for strong trade and investment ties is a dramatic improvement in transport connectivity with China and what is known worldwide, the Global South. And in December 2024, practical construction began on the China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan railway, a strategic link to the 46 billion China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, expanding access to the Arabian Sea, so via Pakistan's deep water ports. So both Trans-Afghan Corridor and CKU Railway will provide Central Asia with access to South Asia, home to over 2 billion people, whom we call 2 billion customers, and a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion. And during Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif's visit to Uzbekistan in February 2025, the two governments agreed to boost trade to $2 billion, which means a lot to Uzbekistan and the whole region of Central Asia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you have given a very good perspective that the Central Asian countries which have been landlocked will now be land-linked, and the land bridge is also developing through infrastructure connectivity. Thank you. Mr. Harun Sharif, you have been focusing on this region for, I think, few decades. If I remember, we have had long discussions on pipelines, on railways, on roads. So, looking at the big picture, how do you see the evolution of this relationship, especially the cooperation of Central Asian republics with China in the context of growing regional connectivity, and of course we are also in the vicinity as Pakistan. So it seems a whole new world is opening up. Your take on it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Senator Mushahid Hussain. It's a topic which is very close to my heart. What we see here is, in the economic terms, that a new economic geography is emerging, from globalization to where China has taken the lead using proximity as the basic comparative advantage in connecting the countries and markets. So that is evolving through infrastructure connectivity, which has been very ably, mentioned by the ambassador before me. Now, what I would like to bring on table is that while connectivity opens up doors, we need now it is, and China has very kindly, given a push because in all regions, be it ASEAN or EU, one country takes the lead. China has taken the lead. Now there's a lot of responsibility on Central Asian countries and Pakistan as well now to leverage that, make that physical infrastructure connectivity work. We need a couple of institutional regional institutions which are market led. At the moment, most of the activity is state led. If we need to grow, for instance, a larger business council or a forum, we start thinking that how private sector joint ventures can be formed in the areas of trade logistics, production, joint ventures, leveraging each other's, a comparative advantage. Connectivity alone does not bring jobs and prosperity. We need to be able to make policies and change our mindset to attract further capital, which can create jobs, which can produce things, because trade alone will not be sufficient for a region if I count, including Pakistan, Central Asia, Western China, Afghanistan. It is almost 7 to 800 million people. It's a market itself as big as India or some other larger global trade blocs. Now we need to start thinking about this market where median age is under 30.
Among the initiatives is a very close and major focus on green development, renewable energy, and that is going to be a very key component of China-Central Asia cooperation. And it's also linked with the broader issue of climate change. And you personally also through your institution has been very active and involved in green development, renewable energy. We'd like your take on that, and how is that a key component also of the China-Central Asia cooperation, which will certainly be discussed at the summit which is coming up in Astana. Professor Parpiev.
You are receiving some very serious and important questions. I believe the scientists around the world actively thinking and working about how to address this challenge. Climate change, affordable energy, food security, and anything. Today, significant attention to being devoted to renewable energy resources. However, finding the single universal solution can be solved of these problems is extremely difficult. For example, if we consider the water as an energy sources, regions like the Central Asia, Arabian Peninsula, so much as the Africa, still no water resource here. If you consider the wind reliable energy source, there's the same problem. That's why we are thinking about how to use the solar energy for these difficult problems. Unfortunately, when the people thinking about the solar energy, many people automatically think that they use the solar energy for the photovoltaic system, for convert the sunlight into the electricity. But believe me, the solar energy can be used far beyond the electricity generation. It can provide a large, stable amount of thermal energy, enabled for the synthesis of new smart materials, especially through the solar concentration. In Uzbekistan, we are conducting research to develop technology for producing green hydrogen from the water by splitting the water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen.
So I think that green development is a key plank of the China-Central Asia Summit and also the part of the Belt and Road Initiative. And I'm glad that scientists in Central Asia and Uzbekistan and China are cooperating on that count. Thank you, Professor. Coming to Professor Lishi Guang in Beijing, Tsinghua University. Professor Lishi Guang, we see also, we have discussed the issues of infrastructure, trade and economy, green development, renewable energy. I would like to discuss briefly about regional security also, because that's also a key component of the China-Central Asia Summit and the regional context. And in this regard, we see certain approaches from the Western countries regarding Central Asia, and we see China's approach, which is somewhat different. So how does China view the issue of regional security in Central Asia? Because China's approach is somewhat different, and it's based on close cooperation and what they call win-win cooperation, and it's been a successful model so far. So Professor Li Shiguang, your take on that?
About security, and the security came from prosperity. If people become rich, and then peace will come. And people, if we want people to get rich, we have to provide a job, provide infrastructure, building road to them. And China now is building two new roads, connecting China with Uzbekistan, with Kyrgyzstan, and also with Tajikistan. In addition to the famous route, China-Europe route through Kazakhstan. And China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan is now just drilling three tunnels somewhere near Fergana. That's the hub since ancient time, China traveling to Central Asia to Iran. And also China is, by next year, China will finish its construction of a new highway along the previous Pamir highway built by the Soviet Union in Tajikistan.
Thank you, Professor Li Shiguang. Coming to Ambassador Wahabov again, Professor Li Shiguang also discussed the regional security issues. Uzbekistan is also a very key component of that, because as a member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, there's also a regional security framework. And can you provide some features of this emerging security landscape of Central Asia, Ambassador Wahabov, and how has a relationship with China safeguarded peace, security and stability in Central Asia? Because I believe in Tashkent, you also have a regional anti-terrorism system also, RATS, which is under the SCO framework, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So on regional security, the role of Uzbekistan, and how do you view the situation broadly from Tashkent?
Thank you for your question, and I will do this with a great pleasure. As you might be aware, Uzbekistan is a founding member of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And moreover, as you have already mentioned, Tashkent is a home to the regional anti-terrorist structure of the SCO, which has been operating in the region for decades. And of course, we do have our shared priorities for secure and resilient Central Asia, and we are closely working with all the members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And Uzbekistan's foreign policy approaches to security issues in the region are quite clear, and in these terms, we are very much open to cooperate with our immediate neighbors and other participants of the Shanghai Cooperation Organizations on countering international terrorism, drug trafficking, illicit trafficking of weapons and ammunition in the region. Radicalism and extremism is also another priority we are very much focused on. I would say the global South opens up new opportunities for sustainable economic growth and expand that international partnerships. And it also supports the diversification of trade and investment flows, reduces reliance on traditional routes, and strengthens regional economic resilience. And at the same time, collaboration between Central Asia and South Asia offers new prospects for technology transfer and innovation, supporting the modernization of economies and improving quality of life across Central Asia. And moreover, such cooperation enhances regional resilience, enables joint responses to global challenges, for instance, such as climate change. And as I said before, this wouldn't have happened without our firm commitment to secure, stable, and prosperous Central Asia and South Asia.
Thank you. Mr. Harun Sharif, with your perspective and with your expertise and experience, we know that Central Asia and China are at the heart of what is now being termed as Eurasia. So what is your take on the opportunities which have just been mentioned by Ambassador Wahabok, and also some of the challenges that we see which could be perhaps impediments, and how to overcome that to promote this regional connectivity and cooperation in this very important part of the world, of Global South particularly?
You know, after the tariff war and everything, the world is looking at functionality of land ports between Central Asia and South Asia and Western China. Now, three things are critical if I am a trader or an investor looking at this market. Number one, the port should be functional. Number two, the port should be efficient. More importantly, the port should be secure. Now, the security part, my suggestion, which I gave in Uzbekistan a few months back, was that you look at the ports from a multilateral angle. 4 or 5 countries join hands, make a corporate entity, bring in the best port operator, and show the world that this can do.
And let's not just bank on 1 or 2 countries to do it. It has to be a collective approach, because these are issues that are linked with the common destiny of building a better tomorrow as in the region. Thank you so much. And I think your expertise needs to be put to better use also in the future when we take this region forward as a broader part of the Global South. Thank you, Mr. Sharif. I again come to Professor Parpiev, and I would like to focus on some of the aspects you mentioned earlier about solar energy and green development, and you mentioned also about your cooperation with China. So how is Uzbekistan's cooperation with China on green development and climate change, and especially the use of new technology that is helping resolve long-standing issues of agricultural production and food insecurity? How is that working in practical terms? Can I have your take on that, Professor Parpiev? Thank you.
Actually, we are working with a lot of universities and institutions from China, and from Beijing, Shanghai, Tsingtao, Urumqi. But I would like to talk today to give you some examples of joint work with the Shanghai Academy of Agriculture, because it is very important for us also, the greenhouse technologies. The results of wonderful, because the films not only thermoregulated, but I would like to say some results. For example, the irrigation water consumption was reduced by 30%. Crop yield increased by up to 40%. The strength of the films also improved, for the meaning that they can be used for 6 years. Together, our China partners, we are today thinking about the produce of the nanoparticles in Uzbekistan, in China also. Regarding our plans for next 2 or 3 years, we can to get the step to the global market. So that's why we invite all the scientists from China and Central Asian countries for research together, R&D together. Yeah. Welcome to Uzbekistan. Thank you.
Thank you for your insights. Professor Li Shiguang, you have been visiting this region also. This is China and Central Asia are just not only just neighbors, they are also a community with a shared destiny, because their history, heritage, geography, culture, economy, they are now strengthening this bond. And what would be your specific initiatives and proposals when to take this relationship, especially at the people-to-people level, forward? Because that's a core of any relationship among regions and countries, and for better understanding and also to strengthening this partnership in the most important part of the Global South. So your take on that, Professor Li Shiguang.
In the future, that we need historically and economically, we really needed a economic integration of the 5 Central Republic with Afghanistan, with Pakistan, and with China's western provinces. Because these greater Central Asia, if you may allow me to say this, are linked by the great mountains. First, the Pamir Mountain linked China with Kazakhstan. Tian Shan Mountain connect China, Xinjiang with Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan. And Pamir Mountain connect China with Tajikistan and also connect with Pakistan and Afghanistan. So I believe that in the future, we can consider a planning that a greater Central Asia regional economic integration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, I think, and we see a very positive future for this region with this connectivity being strengthened at all levels in different dimensions. And we have seen it's not just economy, it's energy also, and education also, it's also security, and plus connectivity through different land corridors. And this area, which was previously landlocked, is now being land linked through connectivity and partnerships with neighboring countries. So with that, we come to the end of today's show. I must thank all our very distinguished participants for their very proactive participation and their insights, which has been a great learning experience, and also to our keynote speaker from the host country, Kazakhstan. I am Mushahid Hussain Sayed. Stay tuned to Global South Voices representing the CGTN. You can find us on CGTN app, on X, on YouTube and Facebook. And stay tuned to the CGTN's flagship show for the Global South Voices, and look at the world from a different perspective. Till we meet next time, thank you.